Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Driscoll, and I'm in communications with the City of Edmonton. Thank you for joining us today as we speak about budget reductions and the city's workforce. With us today is Kim Armstrong, Deputy City Manager of Employee Services with the City of Edmonton. What we'll do today is have Ms. Armstrong speak, and then we'll go to some questions. But before we do that, we want to take the opportunity to thank our interpreters, Kevin Culp and Amanda Omoth, for helping us out today. Thank you. Over to you, Ms. Armstrong.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Today, I want to let you know that we are implementing some of the changes to the city's 2021 budget. In December, City Council approved a number of budget reductions to arrive at a tax levy increase of 0% for 2021. These budget reductions totaled nearly $50 million, 49.9 to be exact. We employed a number of financial strategies, including cutting expenses and finding efficiencies to move us closer to the budget target. The hard reality, however, is that these workforce strategies is that there was no way to reach our budget reduction targets without reducing staff numbers. Combined, we required a reduction of more than 300 full-time equivalent positions within our organization. We were able to substantially reduce the number of actual layoffs by keeping non-mission critical positions vacant through most of the year. Today, we're confirming that we will not be hiring into many of these positions as they are being eliminated. Additionally, we offered a voluntary resignation and retirement program late last year. Employees who were near retirement or long-serving employees who wanted to move on to other things were offered an incentive, and we thank them for their flexibility. The positions these employees vacated will also not be filled. The weeks ahead will be stressful and challenging for many in our organization. We are approaching these actions and conversations with compassion, and we are providing supports to our people leaders, our departing employees, and to our teams. I want Edmontonians to know that the vast majority of our services are continuing as usual. We are doing our best to minimize the direct impact on Edmontonians. These decisions were difficult, and the implementation of the budget impacts will continue to unfold in the months ahead. We're keeping a close eye on the economic effects of the pandemic and continuing to deal with facilities closed by health orders, lower transit ridership, lower revenues, and increased expenses. We understand that the struggle for Edmonton businesses and households continues, and they need us to support them in keeping expenses down. These workforce strategies that I have outlined helped us to make progress in reaching our budget goals. But even so, they were not enough. Today, we're confirming that an additional 60 employees will receive layoff notices, and we started the process of serving these notices late last week. Some of the affected employees are covered by the collective agreements with our union partners, and this means that seniority and bumping rights come into play, and it will take several weeks to complete the process. For example, a position might be eliminated, but the person in that position has seniority and is eligible to move into another similar position. I want our impacted employees and Edmontonians to know that these departures are the result of financial pressures. We are sorry to lose these colleagues. Our employees do quality work. Their work is both valued and important, and they are committed to the communities they serve. This year, we are conducting detailed analysis of the efficiency and effectiveness of our larger service operations, and will continue monitoring our budgets and updating council. In short, today's announcement is not the end, but rather a continuation of our work to ensure the city's budget can meet the needs and priorities of Edmontonians in the future. Thank you. I will turn back to Jeff to moderate your questions.
Thank you. What we'll do is we'll open it up for questions now, and we'll go to each one of you for one question and a follow-up, and then we'll open it up for any further questions or clarifications after that. So first, I think what we'll do is go to Sarah with Global, and after that it'll be Michelle with CBC. But Sarah, do you want to go ahead?
Sure, thank you. Hi, Kim. So I'm just trying to understand here. So the 300 full-time equivalent reductions, those were met through strictly this retirement incentive program and not filling jobs as people left, those 300, and then these 60 are additional to that 300?
Thank you for the clarifying question. The 300 included positions that were vacant that are being eliminated. They included positions that are being eliminated as a result of the workforce transition program, and they include the layoffs that I'm talking about today, the approximately 60 layoffs that I'm talking about today.
Okay, so really we're just talking about 60 people getting laid off that were not, that didn't take packages voluntarily or didn't leave and then have their jobs refilled. Is that correct?
In a general sense, yes, although these 60 people weren't necessarily offered the workforce transition program. The program had parameters. It wasn't offered to every employee at the city. It was offered to employees with longer service, employees who are closer to retirement. So it's not the case that the 60 people receiving layoff notices today were offered participation in the workforce transition program.
Sure, and if I may, just as a follow-up, can you tell us what areas these people would have been coming from? I'm interested in particular in these 60 getting the layoff notices.
So they come from a number of branches across every department at the city. I'm not able to provide specifics as to their work unit or area as the conversations with some of these employees are unfolding today. I can advise that approximately 1/4 of the employees are management or out of scope, and 3/4 of the employees are unionized employees.
Great. Thanks, Sarah. Michelle, we'll go to you next, and then after that, we'll go to Darcy. Michelle?
Yes, thanks. So just to confirm, these 60 positions, they're all full-time equivalent?
That's not necessarily the case. It's 60 employees that are being laid off at this point in the process. There were 300 full-time equivalent positions reduced in budget 2021.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So should city employees expect other layoffs to come in the upcoming year? Or does this entirely take care of the budget cut of $50 million?
Thank you for the question. So the Reimagined Services Review, which is ongoing, and I referred near the end of my remarks to the fact that we're continuing to do detailed analyses of several large program areas. Those reviews will unfold over the course of the year, and it is possible that once those reviews unfold and recommendations are made and decisions are taken, there could be further layoffs. In addition, the implementation of Budget 2021 will occur over the course of 2021. This is the first phase of the implementation of the decisions made by Council for Budget 2021.
So just to clarify, so additional budget cuts that have to do with that, I guess with the resizing of the workforce, I can't remember what you called it, but that could take place within this particular year as well, possibly later this year.
Correct. There will be reimagined services reviews finalized over the course of 2021, and the impacts of those reviews may be seen later in 2021 and may be seen in future years as well. We don't have the recommendations at this time, so I'm not able to provide more specificity. I can tell you that the 5 business units that are being examined in these reviews are community recreation facilities, fleet and facility services, parks and roads, Edmonton Transit, and Edmonton Fire Rescue Service.
Let's head to Darcy, and then we'll head to Jeff after that. Darcy?
Thank you. I mean, obviously, COVID has had a huge impact on this budget, and it sounds like there's definitely more to come. If we see some kind of rebound in the next year or so, I mean, can the city revisit these numbers with some of these people potentially be coming back to work, say, in recreational services or transit?
So thank you for the question. I do want to emphasize or clarify that the approximately 1,600 staff members from the Community and Recreation Facilities branch do remain on temporary layoff as those facilities are closed. So I just want to offer that additional information. In response to your question, the layoffs were attached specifically to decisions made in Budget 2021. And so it would require someone, for example, council, to make a different decision before those positions would see themselves coming back into the city. So the decisions to eliminate the positions were based on the services that we offer and the reductions that were possible in the context of a 0% tax increase, which was our objective.
Darcy, you want to follow up?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks, Darcy. Okay, we'll head over to Jeff and then over to Emily. Jeff, go ahead.
Hi, Kim. I was wondering if you could maybe clarify a little bit more on these jobs that were eliminated, the ones that weren't vacant. Were they vacant for a certain amount of period of time to be considered to be cut? Were these jobs that were vacant for years, months? Just trying to get a little bit more clarity on it.
Yes, understand the question. So the answer is they were vacant for a variety of periods of time. Some of those vacancies were indeed more historic, so would have predated COVID as an example. And some of the vacancies were initiated during COVID. So it was a mix. We did look at every single vacant position in the organization and consider whether the vacancy could be eliminated, whether the position could be eliminated and the work could continue, maybe in a modified way, maybe with different timelines. And so we did a very rigorous assessment over the course of the fall months of all of our vacancies in order to do our best work to eliminate as many vacant positions as possible so as to reduce the impact on our employees.
Jeff, do you want to follow up on that?
No, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. We'll head over to Emily, and then we'll open it up after that. Emily?
Hi, yeah, thanks. I'm just wondering if the 5 units that you mentioned for the efficiency review, the community rec facilities, fleet, parks and road, Edmonton Transit, and fire rescue, are those units that were part of the 60 layoffs, or are those units that will be considered after these 60 layoffs take effect?
So I can't give you the specifics of where the 60 individuals work. I can only tell you that they're across departments and they're across the management and unionized staff. However, the 5 areas that I identified were not excluded in any way from consideration when we were doing our budget work. So I think the short answer, and I apologize for the long-winded answer there, is that those 5 units were considered, those 5 areas were part of the budget deliberations that occurred in the fall. They were not exempt from them. So these are more extensive, deeper reviews that are happening with respect to those 5 areas as part of reimagined services.
Okay, and just as a follow-up, was there any area that was exempt from consideration, i.e. ETS or public transit?
I'm not aware of any area that was exempt from consideration of the budget conversations that occurred. We looked literally across the entire enterprise, we being the executive leadership team, in preparing options for council to consider for their budget deliberations. And all areas of the city participated in that activity. Not just executive leadership team, we also involved branch managers and directors in conversations about what services could be modified, what services could be reduced, where could we find efficiencies, and where could we better manage our expenses.
Thank you. Okay, we'll open it up for any other clarifications or anything that you'd like. Michelle, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I'm wondering if you can tell me, Kim, okay, so you said that there were people who took buyouts and and positions that weren't filled. Can you give me a sense of the numbers in each of those categories?
I can give you an approximate sense. The workforce transition program yielded approximately 110 positions, which means that approximately 110 people, my apologies, departed the city under that program. The vacancies which were eliminated were over 150. I can't give you an exact number. We can get that for you if you need that. And then we have the layoffs we're discussing today.
Okay, yeah, if you could send that. I mean, these are approximate numbers, obviously, but I think that would be very helpful to know what the breakdown is. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Michelle. Anybody else? Oh, Michelle, if I could just get you to mute your mic, please.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's no problem at all. Anybody else looking for a follow-up or a clarification?
Yes, please.
Hi, Sarah, go ahead.
Hi, Kim. Can you just talk to us about how this news is being received? We know in the past there's been some concerns with workforce morale at the City of Edmonton. Surely the economic challenges aren't a surprise, but can you talk to us about how employees are taking this news?
Thanks for that. It is incredibly difficult. It's difficult for all of us. It's difficult for the leaders who are having to have these very hard conversations with staff who are departing the city. It's difficult for the people that are left behind to miss their colleagues, to wonder how this will impact them. And it's most difficult for the employees who are leaving the City of Edmonton. Under these circumstances of financial challenge, it's just been very emotional and challenging time for all of us. We have, as an organization, worked hard to develop a series of supports, and we've geared the supports to people leaders delivering the message, to teams that are losing employees, and also to our departing employees, ranging for the departing employees from guidance and coaching on job searching and how to consider potential future employment, as well as mental health supports and employee family and assistance program supports. So it has been a very challenging and trying time for all of us for these reasons.
Sarah, would you like to follow up?
Yes, please, if I may. Is there a general across the board, like everyone that was laid off got 2 weeks notice or a month notice, or?
So no is the short answer to that question. With respect to the unionized employees, as I briefly alluded to earlier, when an employee's position is eliminated, depending on their seniority, they have an opportunity to take a position, an alternate position at the same or lower level. And so what that can mean is that another employee, and this is called bumping, also is given that same opportunity. So for a particular position, there can be a series of bumps which ultimately result in the most junior employee within that same classification being issued the layoff notice. This process unfolds over weeks because there are time requirements involved in providing individuals an opportunity to consider the options available to them. So very unfortunately, the process takes time, and it unfolds, and it will unfold over the next few weeks. With respect to our employees who are management and out of scope, we are handling their, terminations in accordance with requirements of the Employment Standards Code and common law notice requirements. And so the notice period differs depending on all of the circumstances of a particular employee.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. Is there anybody else who'd like to ask a follow-up? Okay, that's all we have for today. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Ms. Armstrong, and good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.